Bloodhunt feels like it has already raised the stakes as high as they can go with its beginning. Where could we possibly go from here? When we start with Bloodhunt, it's a bit unexpected. Spoiler warning. However, that kind of start might not be for everyone, and I know for me, I was not expecting to be thrown right into the action. For those of you that have been following along with Moon Knight, this might be a little less jarring for you, or perhaps if you were following along with the short-lived Blade series, we are right away thrown into the action where our heroes are up against what feels like an unstoppable force. They're forced to take on a unified world of vampires who also seem to have grown in number unexpectedly. These vampires aren't just swarming the earth, but they are also all seemingly united somehow. When it comes to the Dark Force dimension, it's not something that I think about on the regular when it comes to Marvel Comics, which is why I was really excited and really surprised to see it used in this story. In Bloodhunt, all Dark Force wielders are basically being used as a tool, as a gateway, to open up into the Dark Force dimension to flood the earth with darkness, thereby blocking out the sun, which provides an opportunity for the vampires, of course, to attack. They attack all together, fully, seemingly organized under one leader or cause, but we don't know who or what that is. We don't know how they coordinated this attack, how it was all planned, it all happened so suddenly. How were they able to open up all these portals inside of Dark Force users? We just know they managed to do it. This does mean sadly that Cloak is one of the people who is caught up in all of this. Cloak is used as a portal to access the Dark Force dimension, being converted into just a pure portal of energy. So I guess we have to say rest in peace to all the other Dark Force related heroes and villains, or at least rest in peace for now. Not only am I sad to hear this in terms of Cloak, who I do like and I honestly think does not get enough love in the comics, but I'm also sad to hear this in regards to Shade, who's a mutant and a drag queen, and is also a hero who can teleport through the Dark Force dimension. Also doesn't get enough love in the comics. And if you were thinking to yourself, well, that doesn't sound so bad, I mean, we have magic users out there who can help with this, that can close the portals. The answer to that is no, we don't have that. At one point near the beginning of the story, Iron Man has a conversation with Scarlet Witch, where he's essentially asking Wanda to use her magic to just close the portals. But as Wanda explains, that's not the way it works. Just like how Tony can't do anything with his tech and his suit to do that. Wanda also is not able to solve this problem with just, her magical abilities here. Of course, while the whole world seems to be under siege in Bloodhunt, it might surprise you to learn that there are still some seemingly safe places on the planet Earth. Or at least you might not be surprised to hear that this place is safe, but you might be surprised to hear how intense the security is here. Or well, maybe you wouldn't when you realize that, yeah, we're talking about Latvia and we're talking about Dr. Doom. Still, I did find these panels a bit surprising in a fun way, in the sense that we just get to see people escaping into Latvia, who are of course running away from vampires. As soon as they step across that border in pursuit, those vamps get straight up flambéed. What's worse is that the people who trespassed into Latvia are now being welcomed in as citizens, basically forced to join up with this nation for fleeing there to get security. So while they are safe, they are now going to have to play by Latvia's rules. Dr. Doom is taking advantage of the situation to use it to boost his own population, it seems, recruiting people for the country. Honestly, I love this. It feels so Doom. Doom's like, I'll save you, but now you just have to bow down to me. Cool? While the events in regards to Latvia and Dr. Doom might not be as surprising to some, this next one is where I could not take my eyes off of this comic. This next one caught me so off guard because it's just something that happens so fast. This, after all, is just the beginning of Bloodhunt right now. We're just at the start of this event, so you wouldn't think we would go quite as hard as this, but that's what we're doing here. While the Avengers are there to respond and help Earth, they actually get pulled away momentarily by Blade, who says that he actually has some intel for them. He's gonna, help them out. He has some information and they all have to head up to the city, which is their current headquarters. For those that aren't aware, the city is basically a sentient city. It's floating. It's where the Avengers are based. Blade gets beamed up, all the Avengers get called in to have a quick meeting in the city, and that's when it's revealed that Blade is not actually on the truck that got beamed up. It was beamed up, but instead there are vampires in that truck. Vampires who belong to a group known as the Blood Coven. These are vampires who have fed on superpowered blood or supernatural blood and are using that to give them enhanced strength, enhanced abilities that make them extremely powerful foes. As a result, it seems as if the Avengers have met their matches, and most of them, well, almost all of them, are taken out in issue 1. This also extends to their headquarters because, yes, the city is sentient, which means that not only is it the base of the Avengers right now, but it's actually also like a member of the Avengers team. A little while ago, I did a list talking about some of the new Avengers members, and the city was actually one of the people that I discussed and put on that list because they did recently join up with the team, and the city is actually not a member that escapes the Avengers team fate here. They too end up being taken out. That's right, these vampires are so crazy they're able to take out a whole city. They corrupt, infect the city, and are able to prevent it to a certain extent from using its abilities. So when Black Panther tries to get it to do a dimension jump, it can't, and it's basically forced to surrender due to the pain that it also feels in this encounter. There is one person that survives this, and I think this will also surprise people a bit. The one person that manages to get away is maybe not the most powerful Avenger, let's say, but could actually be the most valuable Avenger in terms of what they represent to humanity. In a desperate attempt to save his fellow Avenger, Black Panther is actually able to get someone teleported off of the city. He's able to get Captain America out of here. The city might not be able to dimension hop, but apparently teleportation is still a thing that we can access here. Captain America ends up getting teleported to safety by Black Panther, who issues this as his last command, to have Sam teleported off before being stopped in his tracks and meeting his own seeming demise. Poor T'Challa. Why is Sam the one who is chosen to survive here? Well, that's interesting. You see, the Blood Coven really wants Sam because they want to turn him into a vampire so that he can basically be a symbol for the vampires. And they know that that will basically crush humanity to see that they've, lost their symbol of hope, that they've lost Captain America. That's why Black Panther also chooses to save him with his last action before he meets his end, because he sees the value in Captain America and what he represents to humanity. Hope. So you might be getting a hint for where this is heading at this point, but you might also be thinking of a different person that could be behind all of this. This was a character I was expecting to be behind everything. A character, honestly, that I love in the comics. We're talking about Dracula. Unfortunately, Dracula is not home at this time. In fact, when Vision is able to tap into some information bases and search to see what could be going on and try to figure out, who's behind this, he actually notes that Dracula seems to be MIA. So when it comes to who's behind it all, it is definitely not Dracula. Dracula is not the person that we're looking for here. And I gotta be honest with you, I was a little disappointed that Dracula does not appear here, and that Dracula, we don't know where Dracula is. But at the same time, this is a vampire event, so I do feel like Dracula will show up eventually at some point in some capacity. I feel like he could even maybe team up with our heroes, and I have to say that the fact that this twist was so unexpected actually made me not miss him as much as I was expecting to. So how did this plan come to be? How did these Dark Force portals open up? Well, this does get explained in the issue, and apparently it's actually due to some Atlantean rituals? Which makes me wonder how this was something that the vampires found out about, and how they're able to use it, and what's going on with Atlantis. Are they working with anyone there? I'm just curious, or did they just, read a book? If anything, in regards to this event, I was just not expecting to see a reference to Atlantis here, but we went there. That's a thing. And finally, major spoilers for the setup of the Blood Hunt event and Blood Hunt issue number 1 here, but I would say probably the most unexpected thing that happened here was the reveal of who is actually behind all of this. Now, if you've been listening to this video, you might have gotten some ideas from some things I said. I did obviously spoil that the Avengers are taken out here. I feel like I didn't spoil anything that's actually a major twist. So I feel pretty safe that up until this point, the spoilers haven't really been the most spoilery that we could go. The spoilers that we gave here were, I would say, on the lighter to mid side. But this one is a big spoiler. It's like final page, last panel reveal. So I'm just going to say it, but you have been warned. The person behind Blood Hunt, behind the start of this event, behind these vampires coming together, and this group that we know as the Structure from Moon Knight, and their new leader is Blade. And we learned this when Blade goes to talk to Doctor Strange and Clea and reveals to them that he knows the entire plan of what is happening here. He breaks it down before revealing that yes, Blade is the one who is behind it all and is the new leader of the Structure. He also does this, of course, while stabbing Doctor Strange right through his chest, which also is pretty shocking, I gotta say. I cannot wait to see where this event goes next and how we get out of any of this, but I gotta say with some of the punches that they're throwing here and just how hard they're throwing them, I'm very much intrigued to see what the creative team has in store for us moving forward. That's about it. I'm your host, Amanda McKnight. Until next time, you stay nerdy.